Hello, and welcome to the Kosh, the People's Podcast. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and the Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who've had an association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities region. Kosh listeners, how are we doing? It is another fabulous day. It is another fabulous weekend, and I am excited. Of course, you know why? Because it is podcast day. So you guys know I always get geeked, especially when I have somebody across from me who I am super excited to have a conversation with. And this is definitely one of those cases. This is somebody I've actually been hopeful to finally get in the chair and have a conversation with. And the only thing that I think was probably keeping it from happening, I didn't have an email. So
sorry about that.
No, sometimes you need somebody to hook you up with an email, and you finally get the email, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's what I needed. And sure enough, I got the email.
Yes, awesome.
So let me give the weekend update. It is a beautiful day. So what we just had going on here in the Kosh, just for time, we just had Jazz Fest the other day. Jazz Fest was awesome. I don't know. I'm all about the skibbity boobops and whatnots. But more than anything, I just think it's really cool that we pile a bunch of people in the middle of our main street here in the Kosh, and people just be chilling, you know, having a good time and enjoying themselves. And it's free.
Yeah.
That's community.
That's amazing community.
That feels good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to hold us too long. I'm going to tell you what I did forget to new Kosh listeners, and I know y'all are pretty used to me doing this. I forgot to ask how to phonetically say our guest's last name. So we definitely are about to slaughter this up, but they will forgive us.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. All right. Oh, and I also make sure we want to take a quick moment here and give a shout out to one of our favorite sponsors, Sunken Paddle Cider Works, making the best of it. Yeah. What's going on there? I hope y'all have been cruising over to 17th Street and tasting some of those yummy ciders. And if you haven't gone over this year, I hope you do, because they have a redesign that went on inside of there. It is fabulous inside of Sunken Paddle. It is cool. And they're serving all sorts of good tasty things now.
Yeah, I know Doug from back in the day with the co-op, and when he was involved with the opening of it, and he is a great chef too.
Oh, facts.
So whenever they do the combined food and beverage, it's good stuff.
That is good stuff. Facts. Yeah, you know what? But I haven't been over. I haven't had a chance to kick it there much this summer, but I've gone a few times, just a few. But I'm going to encourage the Kosh listeners to make sure that they go there. But okay, now here's what I'm going to say, and I know. You know what's coming. I don't know how we continue to get these amazing, amazing guests here on the Kosh. And this week is no different. So this week's guest, oh, wait, you know what? We forgot.
What now?
Oh, let me help you out.
Okay. Oh, there we go. All right.
It's not official unless we have that.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. All right. This week's guest is Molly Smiltneek.
Yeah, close. No, not Smiltneek.
Yeah.
My maiden name was Norton, and I did not think hard enough about keeping Norton. So nobody messes that one up. But
nobody messes Norton up. I'm going to tell you what messed me up. Because I don't have my cheaters on, I couldn't see the L.
Oh, there you go.
The L and the T blended together.
That works. Yeah, then you got it except for that.
Yes, I am old enough for the cheaters.
And he's lifted up his glasses now, too, to see it better.
You got to do these things.
I'm in denial about needing glasses, so I'm actually, this is a good size print for me, what we're looking at right now, so I can handle it.
If I hold it about 1.5 feet away, it's a good size print for me, Molly.
There you go.
So, Molly, how are we doing today?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
It is a beautiful day. It feels like a fall day, finally.
Oh, what, you got something against summer?
No, I love summer, but I love the changes, right? Like, it's good to have, the evolution. I mean, that's why you live in Wisconsin, is seasons, so.
I do appreciate seasons.
Yeah.
Because I don't want just two. I don't want just hot and cold.
Yeah, exactly. You need the shoulder. You need the transition.
Well, I mean, those other seasons are kind of my favorites. Like, I really enjoy spring and I really enjoy fall.
Yes.
And I enjoy fall when it has those 7 to 10 summer days.
Yes.
When it's fall and you get those, all of a sudden there's a warm day that pops into it and you're just like, oh.
Exactly.
This is awesome.
It's like the middle of September, suddenly it's going to be super hot and beautiful again. And
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. See, it just makes you appreciate what you don't have, and then you appreciate it when it comes back around again. If it was beautiful and 80 every day, we wouldn't appreciate it as much.
You think that's what's up?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's what you're going to tell yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Molly.
Yeah.
Can you please share a little something about yourself and your connection to the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities region?
Yeah. Well, so I am an immigration attorney. I've done some work with some people on my do my one sentence synopsis, and it's always well, I'm a mission oriented immigration attorney, social justice advocate, and co-conspirator. You can take whatever that all means for whatever you want. But yeah, I've lived in Oshkosh for almost exactly 16 years because we moved here right before my daughter was born, and she just turned 16. But throughout my time here, I've just kind of done fallen into lots of different things, but I think the one thing that's very unique about me is my role working with newcomers and immigrants to our community. And because that's just kind of sort of in the periphery of a lot of our community right now. But I'm also, obviously, my official titles right now I'm a contracted immigration attorney with World Relief Wisconsin, but then I'm also a member of the Oshkosh Area School Board. So got elected this spring after being appointed about a year ago. So that's exciting. All of my interests, though, I shouldn't say all of my interests, but a lot of the stuff that I do here in Oshkosh is kind of because of my family and my friends, and I kind of fall into whatever they're interested in, whatever needs they have becomes important to me too. So been involved with school stuff throughout my whole time here. My husband is Dr. Eric of Dr. Eric's Skate Club, so we go ice. I don't actually ice skate. I help a lot of other people ice skate every winter. A lot of kids ice skate every winter, but so we all just find our little place here in Oshkosh.
Bruh. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. Ice skating scares the jeebs out of me.
I really hate it. It hurts. I have no problem with being on the ice. What is the skating that scares you, or the being on the ice?
Well, yes.
Yeah,
all of the above.
Yeah.
There's something about the idea that you're on this skate that's just this little slim blade and you're cruising across this very slick surface.
It's sort of amazing what people can do with that, though. My kid and my son and my husband are both hockey players. They can go so fast. We had an exchange student from Italy last year who's a figure skater, and she could do all the. She was a really good figure skater. She could do all the jumps and everything. It was nuts. And I'm how do you balance? How do you do that?
Yeah. I'm going to admire from a distance.
Yeah. I will go on the ice. I will leave my boots on. I don't actually enjoy being in skates. I don't have that faith or that trust in myself on the sharp blade, but
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You should come out though. It's really cool to watch all the kids. It's a great moment of discovery and confidence for these. It's usually elementary school kids that we take out on at the New York Avenue Pier in Menominee Park, or now we've got a great thing going with the city where when it is cold enough, they're able to open the lagoon in Menominee Park for ice skating, and that's where we take them out then too. And then you can hear the wolves howling at the kids too, which is an extra bonus.
Didn't they have a spot over there by Rainbow Park where they kind of did that too?
This has been a long journey. So if you go back in the day, well before we lived here, if anybody who's lived in Oshkosh for a while, I don't know, 30, 50 years, I don't know exactly. We'll talk about they used to have rinks at every school parking lot or just in the fields. But so 10 years ago, we tried to resurrect those, have some tradition of it. And the city and the community foundation all worked together, kind of put in these rinks. First started out I don't think it was at Rainbow Park. It was at the park right by the amphitheater, right behind the convention center. Mm-hmm. And then that one, they had it for a couple of years. It's a beautiful setting right along the river,
right,
but it wasn't flat, so they couldn't ever get the ice to stay as it was supposed to. So they moved to, I think it's Roe Park, right by the downtown Y. Also made it a really pretty setting. They did all the romantic lighting, the rope lighting and everything. But they are having a hard time keeping artificial ice rink going. So we've got the last couple of years we've been at the lagoon, which is really cool. But kudos to the Parks Department for figuring this all out, because Mother Nature is not generally cooperative with keeping ice around all year. So,
facts. Facts.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned some things that I'd like to get into, particularly, the two big things. Okay, school board, one.
Yeah.
Immigration, two.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a choice. Which one would you like to go down? Which path first?
I don't know. Let's go for school board. Sure.
Okay.
Well, school board for me isn't the biggest deal. It's been my time here in Oshkosh has been defined by my family's involvement with the school district. And because I guess after the first 4 or 5 years, obviously that's where my kids spend the majority of their time. And obviously I was not professionally working for a good chunk of my kids' early childhood. So I was a stay-at-home mom, even though I kept my law license and was always involved with immigration. We can talk about that later. But so, starting from my kids being in 4K, I was involved with the school district, and not just as a parent. I somehow always get sucked into being in like volunteering for stuff, doing, like at Peace Preschool, I was like on the board for it, and they're a community partner site. So that was so for the last 12 years, like, I guess it's using my lawyerness, but also just being a mom at, PTOs and everything else. But then what really I'm a political person. I'm a lawyer. I like this kind of stuff, but I also like to advocate for people, and I will fight for what I think is important. And pretty quickly, when my daughter was like in first and second grade, she's an incredibly smart, bright kid, curious kid. At the time, she's like obsessed with dolphins, really smart. Everything is dolphins, thanks to Dolphin Tale. But like, she couldn't read, she couldn't write, she literally, like, you couldn't read anything that she wrote because she just was struggling so much. And it didn't make sense to teachers, but they didn't have any idea what to do about it. So long story short, neither of my kids really learned how to read based off of what they were learning in our schools. Turns out they have dyslexia, which is a little complicated, and yeah, it's a different way of learning, but it didn't make sense to me that they couldn't get this kind of services and get the support that they needed through our schools. So we were able to, and we're privileged to have enough money and the resources to get them the help they needed, but it drove me kind of crazy that other kids were suffering this and didn't have the opportunity to learn how, the most basic reason you go to school. So that kind of is what pushed me to get very much involved on the bigger scale with the school, and, writing lots of strongly worded letters, talking to lots of different district employees for the last 10 years, and being on committees, going to so many board meetings and telling our stories and stuff like that. And over the years, it took a long time to feel like there was any improvement, but my view on it all evolved as well too, because it became very much an equity issue for me. When at first it was just like, this is crazy, why aren't kids learning how to read? When I started to realize who wasn't all learning how to read, it became even more frustrating, because again, I can get my kids the help. As an individual parent, I can do what I needed to do for my kids. So many others can't. And disproportionately, it's not rich white kids who aren't learning how to read, which is what my kids are. So now I feel it's much more of an equity issue, and I've been pushing really hard and finally making good progress. And that's what kind of pushed me finally to get on the board, is the work that we did. There was a change in leadership in literacy at the district, and there was a lot of state pressure where, my daughter and I went down to Madison and testified too about the whole state is failing at this. So we made some good progress there. And finally, I feel like it was a time where it's like, actually, one of the main reasons I sought to be appointed to the board is because there was going to give me the opportunity to vote for new literacy curriculum, like to be what I'd fought hard for and what so many kids have fought hard for finally was going to happen. And I got to be at one of my first board meetings, I got to vote to actually do the expenditure so that we changed our curriculum that would reach more kids. So that's how I got all involved. And there's lots of things going on at the district, as always, but there's amazing things happening in our school district, and there's incredible people in our community that support our kids, and we can do so much better. So
I do really feel like we're making moves.
Yes, most definitely.
Where we might have been stagnant there for a good little period of time.
It feels very different to me, and I do think we're stagnant. And unfortunately, when you're stagnant, that's like real kids. That's impact on real kids. It like, what makes me really sad is like, again, my daughter's like 16 now. I know they're her classmates who went through this all with us, and where they were stagnant for a good 8-10 years. What's going to happen to these kids now, where we barely have a chance at this point? Even if we're doing amazing, great things now,
right? Like,
these kids still can't read, and they're 16 years old. How are we going to make up for that? But I think we're finally in a place where we're making the changes where it's going to happen. And I think we were talking about a little of this before about this culture of belonging, and that's like the first step that you have to have. And I feel like we're getting back to that in our schools too. I hope that our staff feels that they're empowered and engaged, and they're curious about learning new things and ways to reach different kids and reach each student as an individual. And I think that kids hopefully feel that connection, or we're getting there where they're feeling a different connection with their fellow students and with their teachers that helps them be in a place where they're wanting and ready to learn. So
I just appreciate what I will say is what I perceive as very intentional efforts to help with some of the representation within our school district, because that matters.
yes.
It matters.
And I completely agree. And I think that we have to do so much more. We are finally getting there with real representation, and not even just, we're getting staff slowly but surely, getting a more diverse workforce. But we also have to figure out a way to get other people in their classrooms that are they're educators in very different ways, and people need our diverse students need to see themselves in their school.
Yes.
And in the curriculum, and the people who are teaching, and the people who are influencing them. And I think we're getting there very slowly, but we're getting there. And our leadership there's definitely some intentionality among our leadership, which is terrific. And there's great new leaders that are making a big difference and can say things and have a vulnerability and also a aspect of just a truth that other people haven't had in the past that you have to believe in
Facts.
So
I agree with that.
yeah.
There are some people who definitely, I feel like our leadership is willing to make moves that before were either considered risky or former leadership couldn't find the value in it.
Yes.
But,
and they're doing the hard work too.
Yeah, they're doing the hard work too, and they acknowledge it. And I mean, I know that there's a really huge focus on literacy right now, and that matters because it's the basis for everything.
Yeah, there is, and it's going to be really interesting I think there's been a lot of pressure and a lot of work on our elementary schools. I think it's going to be interesting to observe how this all gets pushed to secondary, like middle school and high school. And it's going to be more tough work, but I think we have the right leadership in place. And I think that it's been interesting to observe as an early believer that we can do this and that we will put the tools in place. It's been interesting to see staff, especially at the elementary level, experience this and then see that they actually do believe it in themselves too, because they see the impact that it has on their kids. It's terrific. And we're not going to see it first in test scores. We're going to see it in that engagement. We're going to see it in just the fact that kids, hopefully we see it in some discipline changes and less kids being antsy and totally disengaged in classroom. But it's going to take a while to get the test scores, but we're doing the right thing. And hard work takes a long time. So.
Yeah, you just can't get straight to better test scores.
No, unfortunately not. I wish we could.
Yeah. But no, we need to work on that other piece. And some of that also had to be our educators themselves being honest with where we were truly at. Mm-hmm. I'm a firm, the way I kind of perceived it, and this is just my own personal perception. I'm not going to put this on anybody, but I've been around here for a really long time, right? My daughter went all the way through the whole Oshkosh school district. We did Webster, we did Washington, we did Oshkosh North. The whole thing. We did it.
Yeah.
Right, and I just felt she made it, and she's done well for herself. So I know the school district, there's great educators in there, and I swear by them. They've done great things in some cases. But then I feel in other cases, particularly when it came to our students of color, I think they got othered sometimes where it was just those students of color with problems, and the rest of the students don't have problems. Or that there's not enough students of color to worry about it, and we'll focus over here.
Yep.
And now that can't be said because the numbers say there's about a third students of color.
Yeah.
So now, no, it all matters now.
It most definitely does. And because we also say that, every child, and we use terms like every, and I tend to think of it each individual child, but lots of times when you think of people collectively, it's very easy to other and to just take out those individuals and kind of discard them. And if we kind of shift the focus to meeting the individual needs of each kid and see them as the cool individuals that they are, that really matters. The district just recently had its convocation last week, which is always a great you were raw moment and all this stuff. And it's meant, obviously, as convocations are, is to inspire people for, what will be hopefully a great year, and to push them through the difficult parts of it. And there was a student speaker named Micah Trudell who spoke. He's the president of the Black Student Union at Oshkosh West. He's a great kid. And I had a couple of good takeaways from him, but his his ask of every single staff member there was to be that they intentionally form a relationship with a student. And he had other points too, but I thought that was interesting because I think he's also saying that of like, don't necessarily pick the student that you immediately identify with. Don't pick the student who's most like you. Pick the student that you're curious about. Pick the student who you're like, you may have just kind of overlooked in the past, because guess what? They have value too, and they deserve an education. And they might interact with you differently than the kids you're most comfortable with, but they're your students too, and they have the same bright future and the great potential as anybody else. I thought it was interesting and important for a student to say that to adults of like, here, this is what I'm asking of you as your client, your patient, the people that you are serving. See me and figure out how you can connect with me.
That goes hard.
Yeah. He's a
that.
good kid.
Yeah.
No
so doubt.
I don't know. I think we are making progress towards respect and engaging every student. I also think we have a long way to go. Our discipline numbers haven't caught up to, we have terrible disparities in our opportunity gaps, both for our outcomes for literacy and math, but then also if you look at our discipline numbers, like I don't believe that our Black students, our students of two or more races, our Latino students, that they are bad kids, but by our numbers, it looks like they're receiving far more discipline than others. And that means they're out of the classroom. That means they're not having an opportunity to learn. And we got to figure out a way to keep those kids in the classroom. And it's not all on those kids. It's on our system.
Yes.
We'll see what we do.
Yeah. But here's what I will say. At least it's being said out loud now.
Yes.
So people are looking at it, it's being addressed. But yeah, it's one of those things. Here's what I'm going to say, as a person who gets to bounce around a little bit and sometimes gets to talk in to other districts. Oshkosh became that we may not be that good at this, but at least we're not as bad as that.
Yeah.
And that's bad.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
You don't ever want to be that. You don't ever want to be the thing where people point at and you're like, yeah, we got discrepancies too and this and that, but we're not as bad as that.
Exactly.
That is not where we want to be. And we in our heart of hearts, I don't think that's who we are.
I don't either. And I think that our community just needs to remind ourselves that our community is a community made up of a vast variety of people. And it might literally look different than it did 50 years ago, or different than when I moved here 16 years ago.
Oh, definitely.
But that's like what makes it awesome, in my view.
Oh, yeah.
And how do we, these kids are part of our community and deserve to be part of our community. And I also think, this kind of goes to the each versus every idea as well, too. If we just say that all of our problems come from our newcomers or it's our students with our low-income students are the ones with low test scores. And then we can always say, oh, but then the rest of us are fine. Like, that's not it. Our community is all of us.
That is not true.
And guess what? Our numbers are such that there's a lot of other kids who are, part of that majority that you're saying are not the problem that need the help too. So figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think if they probably dug in, which they probably have, my guess is it's a huge socioeconomic difference.
There is, yeah.
And that's where a lot of it can lie.
Well, and sort of a dig-in issue too. We always get reports on attendance, and actually our district is pretty good at attendance, which I think shows we're slightly above state average, which is never good enough. But that shows that kids are wanting to be at school. They see a value. They see that sense of community in their schools. They see it as a safe place that they want to go. But then when you look at like just the raw numbers, it shows some outliers.
Right.
But then if you dig into it a little bit, you're like, oh, part of the reason that this group of students has a lower attendance rate is because they're being disciplined with out-of-school suspensions. And so they're out of school, not because they weren't ready to come to school, but for whatever reason, a Black girl is 6 times more likely to be suspended than a white girl in our schools. And that doesn't, so when you say, oh, well, they're not coming to school, they're not engaged, that's not necessarily the case. We have to figure out how to get them engaged in a very positive way. But our discipline is impacting students' attendance. It's not because they're disengaged or they're not showing up.
Okay. Well, we started with school district.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you, let's switch over to immigration.
Sure.
Because that's such a hot topic right
my gosh,
now.
yeah.
And I don't think you know unless you know.
No, yeah.
Right. And that's it. Like there's so much going on in those communities. And if since a lot of us live in our silos and we may not have friends who are directly impacted. And even if we do have friends who are directly impacted, they may not be telling us what all of the impacts mean right now. What can you share?
Well, I think I first have to say I am very lucky to work within the immigrant community. I have to make sure I separate, though, I am lucky to work with and within the immigrant community. I am not an immigrant myself. I can try to share stories. I cannot tell you exactly the fear that they're facing. I don't live it myself, so I don't want to try to own that or to take that from them. And obviously, every story is different and every situation is different. But I mean, I graduated from law school, gosh, it's almost 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago. And this isn't what I signed up for. It's an incredibly terrifying time right now to be, because my job as an immigration lawyer is I'm trying to help people get to start their lives here in the United States and trying to help them navigate a system that never has been particularly welcoming. But I mean, our country is founded on the concept of immigration, and I believe in that deeply. We're not exactly a complete country of immigrants. Obviously, there are some very big exceptions to that, but so many of us have an immigrant story. And that's why I love the work that I've done traditionally. And I love being the person who gets to help people navigate this and fill out the stupid forms and do all of it. Right now, everything is turned on its head. It is a time where it's hard for me to give advice to my clients because nothing is happening within the norm that I had before of like even the idea of, so obviously one of the most common questions I get from my clients is because my clients, I'll say this with air quotes, but my clients are lucky. The ones I'm currently working with, I'm able to apply for a green card for them. They qualify for a green card. And they keep asking me, well, when's my green card going to be adjudicated? In the past, there was at least a website where you see the average wait times or the average processing times for all these different things. But in the last 6 months, we've been told, and there's been directives from the administration that all decisions on refugee and asylum-based green card applications are on pause. So they're just not making decisions. I can't even give my clients an estimate on these things. And yes, that's a tiny little thing, but if they can't even have that security or that hope, maybe even, it's tough. It's beyond tough. But for the bigger picture with immigration in our community, we've always had undocumented people in our community, and they've always figured out a way to survive and to live their lives. And I have been very lucky to work with undocumented people in the Fox Valley the entire time that I lived here. Like when I first moved here, I wasn't taking private cases, but I was very involved with groups like Esther. And I did I did lots of work with DACA for childhood arrivals. When that came out, there's always an opportunity to try to help people along the path. And now that path is obliterated. And the sense of, which we all have that American dream, or at least that's what you talk about with immigration. I keep telling my clients I'm sorry. And it's not so much for something that I have done, but it is something that they come here to our country with this hope that they are doing something to build a better life for themselves and their family. And the promises that we've made to them just are not being kept. And it is a time of great fear for me. I can't give my clients any reassurances on anything right now. And my clients, again, they're the lucky ones where we had a path for them. There's so many people that I'm giving, when random people will contact me who I know in the community, I'm like, I can't give any reassurances that anything is okay. And I think that's unfair for any of us with the privilege to not be immigrants to try to give any kind of those reassurances right now.
What are repercussions that maybe that haven't been realized yet that you might feel might be down the road from some of the actions that are being taken right now at the federal level? Because I do think I don't think we have fully realized a lot of things.
Yeah, there's going to be some really tangible repercussions. But the ones that are even more heartbreaking for me goes back to the whole point of this podcast is this sense of community, because we have created a whole group of outcasts right now who, no matter what, they can't feel safe in the places in our community. We can't tell children that they are safe going to school. We can't tell parents that they are safe picking their children up from school. And even if these are people who have their green cards, or maybe even that are naturalized citizens at this point,
right?
Like, there's this lack of sense of community and community safety that I think will be felt acutely as people try to go about and live their regular lives with people who they might not on a regular basis think of as immigrants. Like they might, like, so let's use the kids in the classrooms, for example, like, because I think most teachers think of their students as students. They don't think, yes, they know each child has their own story and their own background, but they don't think on a regular basis, well, this child was born in Syria, this child was born or anything. They just think of them as students first, which is fine. But these students are also students with a refugee background, students with an immigrant background, and they are not going to feel that same sense of security that they might have even felt last year in the schools because they've been told they can't, and their parents have been told they can't. And I'm sure most families are trying to protect their children from much of this, but also, as a lawyer, I'm also saying you need to make sure that you prepare, and you need to talk to your kids and your families about, worst case scenarios if someone suddenly disappears from your family. And someone who you thought had a very secure immigration status could even just disappear. So there's going to be those kind of like intangibles, I think. It's going to, which, I mean, it's already fracturing our communities, but I think it's going to be much more severe. The other tangibles that I think are coming down the line very quickly is, thanks to recent legislation, we are going to see a lot of food insecurity for immigrant families because they are not eligible for any kind of food benefits coming very quickly, or health benefits. And I get that a lot of people are like, well, that means that they were just sucking money from us anyways. They didn't deserve that kind of support and assistance. But I would encourage you to think kind of bigger picture on it. And many of these people have a refugee background, and we brought them here and they had literally nothing. They're building their lives in long term. Guess what? They do benefit financially our community a lot. But we're going to have people who have no access to food, no access to public benefits, no access to their support systems. And that's going to ripple through the whole nonprofit community. And I think our government as well, local government, people that they thought they could support in the past and they were able to check boxes for them because they were eligible based off of various things, they're suddenly not eligible. So it's going to, again, other people much more. And the needs are going to be very, very acute and horrible. And I mean, some people are going to lose work authorization very quickly. And as soon as people lose work authorization, it becomes a lot harder to work. They're not going to be able to pay their rent. Landlords are going to be like, this is even different, worse and different than usual. Like, what's going on? Why do I have so many people who are behind on their rent? It's going to be a tough next 12 to 18 months in that kind of regard for the larger community as well.
I think there's going to be a really big domino effect.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. I don't even know where the end of the dominoes falling is going to be. And I mean, there's the other parts of it of we're losing our workforce. I work with mostly people who have documentation, who have work authorization cards. I can guarantee you there are a good number of people in our community who are working without documentation, and they're doing jobs that need to be done or that we want to be done. And what's going to happen when they don't feel safe going to those jobs? Who's going to fill those jobs? I can't tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just...
I gave this talk a couple weeks ago to like a community group, and it was quite funny because the lady's like, try to give us some good news too. And I'm like, seriously? Like, no, I mean, I can give you my little rays of hope, like, and that, oh, it's for me, it feels good when I literally where I allow myself to cry with my client. But there's not good news right now. And you're really lucky if you don't get to feel that right now, because so many people do feel it. And guess what? They're not going to tell you if they feel it because it's not safe for them. It's not safe even for my clients really to tell me most of the things. And I don't ask it of them. It's not on them to make me feel better.
Right.
But
no, this safety is at an all-time low to me.
Oh, definitely.
As somebody who works in communities, and there's just a whole lot of worry. And there's so much happening. I don't feel like it's easy to pull together an organized effort of service to serve.
No.
Because there's so much happening. Sometimes one thing falls apart, so then you can kind of take all the resources and plug that hole
Right.
and kind of fix that and hope. And then the rest of the structure's holding up, but it just feels like the whole structure is under attack.
Very much so. And a friend was like, well, what do we need to do to meet their needs? And I'm like, no, you don't get it. We are dismantling the entire structure to provide any assistance. It's not even about meeting needs. It's about, we can't even provide the assistance that we've always been able to do before, or build that community with different populations that we were able to do before. And it's hard to articulate it from within, even of like when one more thing crumbles and you're like, it's hard to even it's hard for me to even tell stories like this here, because it's every part of my system and my belief and my work is crumbling. And these are real people's lives. And they're people who do amazing things in our community and who are just here building a better life for themselves. Who, I mean, again, in our community, it's a lot of refugees. And this was a very organized, vetted system. And we already didn't have enough resources that would, we're not supporting them ideally. And these people came here with a very legitimate hope and of stability, and now it's back to, I mean, we've had multiple people who are like, it would have been better if I'd stayed in the camps, if I'd stayed wherever in Syria. Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah,
I had heard, somebody was talking about, and I can't tell you where I heard this from because I hear so many different things.
Right. Yeah.
But, and they were like, well, our focus was getting those people who are illegal, blah, 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 doing this kind of thing, who've done illegal things. But the person that was kind of referencing this whole thing, I think the problem with it is like, they're trying to say that them being here was the illegal thing. But I'm like, that's not the case with the undocumented. And I think it's a misunderstanding that people have all the time. Yeah. Because there's these different levels of both being documented and undocumented, right?
Right. Undocumented immigration is so complicated. Like I talk about it a lot of like, first of all, it's not in general, it's not a felony or criminal offense to be undocumented in the United States. But it's also oftentimes people come here through legal means, maybe overstay a visa. Mm-hmm. I mean, or they come here, a lot of people were paroled into the United States and then it was revoked, had temporary protected status, it was revoked. These were promises we made to people and we are literally taking it away. So they came in here under one set of circumstances and beliefs. And I don't like when people say, well, I support people when they do it the right way, because guess what? There is no right way. And for many people, there's literally no line that they can get in. And we want them here for various reasons until we suddenly decide we don't. And it's the value judgments placed on people who are coming here, and in the best of terms, it's for a better life. And generally, though, and whether these people are termed asylees, refugees, immigrants, migrants, whatever you want to call them, there's a poem that talks about how nobody leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. And there has to be a very good reason why someone is willing to take the risk and hope and try for a new life in a place like the United States. Even before this current administration, It was never easy. It was never a simple thing. And people are here trying to live their best lives, trying to support themselves and their families, wherever the family might be. Because guess what? Most of their families are not here. And that's another heartbreaking thing I'm dealing with my clients. They've already been here for 4 years without their family. And the United States literally brought the Afghans here. I mostly work with Afghan asylees. And now there's no hope of bringing their families here. Like a lot of young guys got out and it wasn't safe for their families in the chaos that was the U.S. withdrawal from Kabul and from all of Afghanistan. And I mean, these guys just want to start their lives. They want their wives to be here. And they can't. And there's no hope of right now for the next 3 to 4 years of anything passing. But they're still working their butts off here, sending as much money home as they can and trying to build their life for that time that I think they still dream of when they can really have it. But that's the classic immigrant story, though, of you sacrifice in hopes that your family has a better future.
Right. Okay. Well, Molly, whether you realized it or not, we hadn't even started the episode good.
Sorry about that.
We've been at it for a while. No, that's no apologies. We just, So, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually get ready. You ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Every single time. I love that. And when you hear that sound, that means it is time for the topic of the week. And the topic of the week is chosen by our guest 99.9% of the time. And guess what? This week won't be any different. So, Molly, what is your topic of the week?
I was thinking back to school. Like, it's the, even like, I mean, I'm not in school, obviously. I don't have a job where it matters that we're going back to school, but like this time of year is exciting. It's also like the end of, well, as you mentioned earlier, about the end of like the awesomeness that in general is summer and the freedom of summer. But it's also like, it's kind of like a snow day. Like, it's something you get excited for. Yeah, lots of craziness will happen throughout the school year, but it's a big deal. And I think it's a fun time of year.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I think back to school, the first thing I think of is like your first day outfit.
Yes.
Because that was big.
Yeah.
Me and my wife were just having this conversation about like getting the cool 64 pack of Crayola crayons.
Oh, God, yeah.
Back in the day. Like, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And you could do that. Trapper Keepers. You remember Trapper Keepers?
Yeah, they still sort of exist, but they're not nearly as cool looking.
Not nearly as
like,
cool.
they don't have like the fun designs on and stuff.
See, I know I'm dating myself, y'all, so don't be sitting here judging me and stuff as I talk about these things. But these things are the things that were, it was a big deal? Getting real Crayola markers.
Oh, yeah, the ones that actually, yeah.
Yeah, that was legit. Like, there's things.
There's a difference, too, because they last a little longer.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember, like, for the back to school day, or the outfit and everything, like, because I grew up in Stevens Point, so not too far from here, but not from the Fox Valley. And our big deal is we'd always make a road trip for the day to Fox River Mall to go do all your shopping and TJ Maxx, but, like, do all your shopping for the whole school year, but just good stuff.
My wife's thing was getting real folders, not those 10-cent paper folders, but like the ones that might have
a kitten on them or something.
Yeah, My Little Pony, Smurfs, whatever, just like designer
get
folders.
One of those, yeah.
So we were talking about that and how excited you used to get for that.
Yeah. The other part of it, though, with back to school. So we're helping out. Last year, we hosted an exchange student. This year, we're like kind of like a liaison family supporting a new exchange student. And she was at our house last weekend, and we were talking with her host family. And somehow we got on because the host mom asked my daughter if she had a locker at her high school. And Layla has a very traumatic history with lockers. She just can't she was at Webster one of its last years, and the lockers were in really rough shape. The locks didn't work very well. And then she slammed her friend's hand in a locker. So Layla hates lockers. But then we were talking about how as adults, we have these like our reoccurring nightmares are that you can't, like, and it's usually a middle school age, that you can't get your locker open and can't remember your passcode and everything, or can't do it right. Like, can't remember what the whole pattern is. And like, that's some trauma.
Well, let me think. See, all I remember was back in those days, if you had anything, I'm not sure we had locks when we were in middle school.
You're lucky.
But the high school, you had your own lock. So then you had to be able to,
know the code,
the old school master lock.
Yeah,
turn
the
it,
back and forth.
Yeah, the back and forth dial. So that was serious.
Yeah, it's hard stuff. And it might haunt you the rest of your life.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what's on your soul about back to school?
Well, I mean, like, again, I mentioned I was at convocation, and I'm like, it's cool to see the like excitement when you get a whole room full of educators together. Like, I mean, there's a lot of elementary school educators too. So they're like very, very eager, happy, excited about it. But I also know that, it's a lot of hard work happening. The other part of back to school that I think about too, because my office, so I work for World Relief, but our office is at the Hyde Center at Boys and Girls Club. And so in the last couple of years, Boys and Girls Club has had some huge growth and like their program and everything. But my office like looks out on one of their fields that the kids play in like literally all day, every day in the summer. And I made some comment early in the summer about how, like, especially in light of talking about immigration, and that my job is pretty darn heavy right now. It was a lifesaver to me to be able to like look out my window and like see these kids still laughing, giggling, screaming, fighting, like, but living their most amazing carefree lives. But so what happens now, Boys and Girls Club programming ended recently, and then they have like a week off before school starts. And it's going to be so sad for those of us who, like, I didn't even interact with the kids mostly. Every once in a while I'd wave to them from my window or whatever, or they'd be walking down the hall. But like, I feel excited for the people who now get to be the lucky ones who get to interact with like the joy that is children. And I get that middle school and high school maybe isn't always directly that much joy, but I mean, they're pretty cool people too. And so I'm going to miss that kind of the summer love of having kids around, but also like it's neat to see that new beginning and how excited everyone is, at least for one day. I won't talk about this like the 5th day of school or the first Friday of school, because I think this year is a pretty long week. It's a 4-day week to start it. But yeah, it's a great time of year.
I like seeing the parents fight their two sides of kids going back to school.
Gosh, yeah.
Right? Like, because there's let's not front. There's a little bit of celebratory, a little celebration going on.
For a couple of years, when I always would go to Palora's on the first day of school with a bunch of my girlfriends, and like we'd have a drink, not just a great breakfast, but like a drink to be like, heck yeah.
Survived another summer with the kiddos.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also that wrap up though, that another year has passed and they're moving up another level and they're getting closer and closer to independence.
Oh, and I am such a sucker for all that. Like on any given year, first or last day of school, like I've made it very clear to people, like I'm like, it's always okay to wear your sunglasses inside on those days, because like I will bawl my eyes out for no good reason. Other times it won't be impacted at all. But like first day of school, like maybe it is about the kids, I get that, but parents, it's all about like recognizing that this is a season, like, and it changes, and enjoy that kid's excitement, but it's also okay to be sad that like, yeah.
I also like, since I know some educators too, I always like to watch them get ready.
Oh my gosh,
for a new year. And
did you ever get to help a teacher set up their classroom or anything?
No, I don't think I've ever been lucky enough for that.
I like this is when I was younger, but like putting up the borders and stuff for an elementary school teacher. Like I don't think I would like to do it all the time, but it's like it's kind of like holding a little baby for a couple minutes until they start crying. It's neat to see like just the excitement of learning and the setup, and like I think that's a cool thing about education, right? For being a teacher, like you get to have a full cycle, like you talk about with parents, but like you bring in a whole new family of kids each year, and you get to see what they end up as. And sometimes like it's rough, but like, and the things you teach them in a year, like I think I appreciate it when teachers do have the awareness of what they're doing, that they can say like, I saw the kids like that. So, well, for an example, one of my kids' former teachers just actually sent my family a thank you note because we gave them a bunch of our toys that we no longer use, and she was moving to be teaching 4K. She sent us this thank you note. She's like, "I'm sorry it took me so long to send you this thank you note, but I wanted to send it to you at the end of my school year because her 4K kids." She's like, "Because I want them all to be able to write their names." Like that's pretty darn cool. Like you taught 20 kids how to like in 9 months how to write their name. Like that's awesome.
That's awesome.
A sense of accomplishment.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to take a moment because we've talked a lot of education so far in this episode, and we got to give them some love.
Yeah, seriously.
Because they be working hard.
They are, and they're like, yeah. I learned very quickly in COVID and before that, I think too, that I am not a teacher.
You're not about that life.
No, I am terrible. I cannot connect with kids in that way. I can interact with them great as a parent, but I am not a teacher. And that is a specific skill set that not all of us possess.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's hard. And sometimes what they bring home, you don't even know.
No,
it's new to you.
Yeah.
I remember when they started doing the new math, and doing it a new way. And I was like, I'm not cut out for this. No. So I'm going to teach you the math I know.
Exactly. I can handle that.
Yeah, and I'll teach you how to get the right answer, but I can't teach you how to get it the way they get it.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure her kids are much smarter for it, but man, I cannot. I'm not a good math person either. Period. But like, and the ability, like, it's a really unique ability to be able to teach 20 to 30 different kids new math. It would be an example. How to do that? Like, I could say the words many, many, many times, but to actually get the outcomes, like, that's impressive.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I like it. Back to school.
Yep. So there's my. I hope it goes really well for everybody.
Me too. I definitely send mad love, mad blessings.
Yeah.
To parents, to the students, to our educators, and all those affected by back to school, because a lot of us are.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that topic. But okay, let me ask you this. What is your most memorable back to school memory? And I'll give you both as a parent and as a student.
Oh, gosh. Back to school is when I went to college for the first time, because that is such a monumental change. And where you suddenly, like, my mom didn't get to come take me to school because she was a teacher. She actually was teaching already. But it's it's incredibly hard work, like moving your kid into the dorms, period. Ooh. Like physically hard and hot and awful. And then you've got all of these emotions where your kid's super excited. Like I was super excited, but also like, I mean, I'm close to my family. I love my parents a lot. And saying goodbye to them, even though I knew that I was going to see them like within a couple of weeks, right. Like that is, I remember sitting, because it was my dad and my sister who took me to move me into the dorms at UW-Madison. And I remember we went to Burger King on University Avenue. And I remember sitting there, my dad was actually tearing up. And that's, there are very few times in my life when I recognize my dad actually see tears in his eyes. And I'm like, oh man, this is tough over chicken tenders. But I mean, that's a very crazy emotion filled change. Again, I guess I'll just be sentimental too. Like especially when my kids first started preschool and like the younger 4Ks in kindergarten, when in the time you can still make it be a big deal for your kid and everything, like, but it must have been when my daughter was, or it must have been my son going to 3K. So he was young, it was preschool. And I saw like a friend's kid who didn't have school that day for whatever reason. And like, they like came over and hugged me up after like leaving with me with my sunglasses on, cause I was still teary eyed, like just going to the Y or whatever. And it's cool when like kids realize that like, oh, the adults are sad or whatever we are, sad and happy at the time. But like, it's cool. Like just to be able to allow yourself to feel whatever you feel on that back to school day.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we made it through topic of the week.
Oh, good. All right.
All right. Kosh listeners, I want to take a quick moment and just let you know, hey, the Kosh has new t-shirts. So we are rocking new t-shirts out here. And if you are interested in getting a Kosh t-shirt, please reach out to us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, askthekosh@gmail.com. We are working towards, and I'll even tell you what we're doing because we're fundraising right now.
Okay.
We're fundraising. And what we're working towards is becoming a video podcast.
Oh, that's a whole nother level, though. That's a little scary to be on camera.
It is a whole nother level. But you know what? We've been doing the Kosh for 4 years.
Yeah.
I think we're ready.
I think so.
I think we're growing into it.
Yeah. I think you got it.
Yeah. So, it's just so you know. So that is, I think it always helps when people know what you're doing. So talk to me about some t-shirts. Let's make that happen. Okay. So next segment. Second segment is what in the world is going on with. That is where you start with the phrase, what in the world? And then you tell us what's on your mind. So Molly?
Okay. So I'm a big reader, but I'm a reader of like really not high quality books. Like I go for quantity, not necessarily quality, and it's escapism. So I like romance novels. I like easy reads that I can finish within a day or two, and I fly through them and they're my escape. But epilogues drive me crazy. So what in the world is going on with epilogues? Like if you are telling a story, tell the darn story and then just end it. It's okay. You don't need to add this like extra chapter on where you wrap up the whole rest of a person's life. You just tell the story you are telling and let it go. It drives me crazy. And like I like hockey romance. I'll be very specific. I like other ones too, but hockey romance books are fun books. But they always
did you say hockey and romance? There's such a thing?
Oh yeah, it is like a huge thing. Look on Book Talk. It's a strangely cultish thing, and they are not high quality books, but it's fun. But they always so they'll have the happy ever after ending, and then they add another epilogue, where they basically will summarize the next 5 to 10 years of somebody's life in 2 pages. We're like, oh, they get married, they start having kids. I'm like, just leave it at the happy ending where they're happy and they don't have to worry about the rest of their life. So that's my little rant I will never understand it. And I'm sure there's a really good literary reason why they exist. I don't think it is made for the romance novel world.
Bruh. Maybe not. Maybe not that genre.
Yeah, no.
That doesn't work.
No, I don't think. I'm sure maybe other people love it, not me. But yours, I think, yeah. What's going on in the world for you?
All right. My what in the world is going on with is what in the world is going on with Washington, D.C.
Bruh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got feelings.
Yeah.
I got feelings about that. Like, when has it become okay for our federal government to send in our military into civilian streets on our land?
Right.
Right? How does that work? That's not what it's supposed to be for. Why is it okay for them to do that on the premise of they're there to clean up crime? That is not the mission of the military at all. And why are we allowing it to happen? As a matter of fact, why aren't we more boisterous about it? And I got some feelings on why we're not as boisterous on it. And I don't quite understand why, as a people, we can't see this is the door opening to other really bad things. It'll start here, but it'll continue to become other things. I think it's wild to sit and watch our military and even federal agents harassing people sitting on their front porch having a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that. And I find it more than coincidental that, because, this is all, to me, it's all just a test. It's a test to say, I'm going to see what we can really get away with. And when we're going to run this test, we're going to run it in the blackest city in the United States. Yeah. And I feel like they run that test there. And I'm just going to be real honest here, Kosh listeners. You run the test there because you might not get people are going to get othered. Mm-hmm. So it's their problem.
Yep.
It's not all of our problems. But this is all of our problems. Because if it happens there, it can happen anywhere for any reason at this point.
No reason, to be really clear, for no reason.
Well, it right now is a no reason.
Yeah.
So but that's my point.
Yeah.
And when I say any reason, my any reason is a no reason.
Yeah.
Because they'll make up a reason. Just like right now, it's functioning under there's an emergency. There's no emergency.
No.
It's the way it's always been.
And it's not high crime. It's not. And
no.
I think the thing that is also your wording to me was interesting of like, why is it okay? And like, because my answer then is it's not okay. But then to your point of like, what are we going to do about this? It's not okay. And how are we going to figure out what we're going to like to actually stop this? And like, what is the tipping point if not this? And I can't answer because we keep going past what I thought were the tipping points.
Right. Like, yeah. It just seems like just when you think there's a line that would finally trigger whatever it's supposed to trigger, right? True outrage, and us as citizens or us as residents of this country to say it's not enough. That we continue to let the things go, and I don't know if it's because people don't think there's anything they can do. They don't know what the answers are. I just don't know what it is, but it's not okay.
No, and I also look at it in the context of, well, they did something similar in California first.
Right.
And it was the exact same playbook of othering and seeing what they could get away with. Mm-hmm. Doing it in communities that have incredibly high Black and brown populations because they're the other. And doing it under the guises of things that are totally false and inaccurate, and yet we can't figure out a way to actually say, but this is false and inaccurate. At best, you are doing a citywide immigration raid. At worst, you are harassing people for smoking cigarettes on their stairs, for driving without with their back light out, or like this is, and it's completely contrary to the role of our military, of our National Guard, of people who are proud to defend our country, and yet they're being used to attack their fellow citizens.
Well, I just think it's going to really blow up. Because, I feel like our military is one of those things that, like, we keep a lot of pride for it. We try to really support it. There's nonpartisan support about it for the most part, but it's getting politicized now. And even though they're just following orders, there's going to be irrevocable trust broken.
Almost definitely.
And it's not going to be able to be viewed the same. And then I don't know if it's going to be able to be supported the same.
No.
And this is sad. This is really, really sad.
Yes, completely. And I see the same thing, a shift and an irrevocable or harm being done, even at the local level on like many in our community have a deep-seated trust and faith in our public safety officers, in law enforcement. And at the top of that pinnacle is by far our military. And if we are confusing their role and their mission, which is supposed to be public safety, where they are helping protect those of us who live in this community in our country, and instead that's something that we can never build back to be a place where people are safe and can trust the people who they are supposed to be able to turn to when they need help. But DC, I completely agree with you. And what's shocking to me is, yes, I understand I get exactly why it's happening, and you articulated it perfectly, why it's happening in DC. But that's also our nation's capital. Like, it is scary to me that we're militarizing our nation's capital. Like, that's not what happens in a democracy. Like, I was actually just thinking about last night, I came to the realization that I think my son will have the opportunity to take a trip to Washington, D.C. with his school this spring. I think it's the year. And I'm like, I don't want to expose him to this. Like, what? You shouldn't have to go through a military checkpoint to go to the Washington Monument or even see military vehicles when you were.
Yeah, but maybe he's not going to be allowed to go to it
exactly.
because they're talking about just got rid of all school visits to the White House and such. So, I mean, like, there's those things.
But I think your point is most importantly taken, like what is being done and how the people of Washington, D.C. are being portrayed is what we all need to be paying attention to.
Big time. The whole thing just, it worries me greatly. And just to put one more last angle on it, of the federalization of local law enforcement.
Yeah.
If I'm a cop, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah.
If I'm so serious, if I'm law enforcement, if I'm a city cop, if I'm a sheriff, any of those, I'd be freaking out because that's your job. They're about to screw up. Mm-hmm. And unless you plan on moving to that level and becoming a federal agent,
right,
or the military, they're basically coming in, and any type of community policing relationships you made, you can just throw that out the window.
Right. That's
done. And maybe your power as law enforcement in your local community, you've just been disenfranchised.
Yep.
I don't think you should take this lightly.
No.
You should be, they should be some of the biggest voices right now saying no.
Yeah, I agree. And
you want to talk about proper NIMBY? This is the proper NIMBY to me. Not in my backyard.
So you made one small point, which is a huge point. Like, this is actually something that's happening very much so, the federalization of local law enforcement in our backyard already, not to the extent that it is, obviously not to the extent, but there is a little bit of a local controversy going on with our local sheriff is cooperating and has it's called the 287G to assist with immigration enforcement. And there are a lot of reasons that I am not a fan of that and that I think are very harmful to our community. But you hit on what is probably the most important one, but is also the hardest one to remind people of. If you want trust in law enforcement, if you want people to be calling you for help, this federalization and cooperation with people who their sole purpose is to pluck people out of our community or I think that's the whole purpose, or to basically there's no way that you're going to have the sense of know me before you need me. You're never going to have that kind of trust between local law enforcement and their community. And that goes far beyond the trust of what what immigrant would ever call to have the police come out if they were victimized by a crime right now. But it goes beyond of who can any of us trust?
I think it goes further than immigrants, because here's my thing: is somebody born and raised here citizen, I'm still scared. Right? Because there's no guarantees right now that you couldn't just disappear.
No, I agree with you.
And end up somewhere.
Yeah.
Some unmarked whatever, right? Or in some country that.
Yeah.
Like right now, all things seem possible.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
in the
not
worst
likely.
way ever, but all things seem possible. That used to be like one of those inspirational posters, but it's not right now. There's no limit right now on what is going to be happening in this country, and that's terrifying to me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting.
What in the world's going on with DC? Geez, we need that.
So I'm gonna. That was me in my soapbox.
That's a good soapbox.
All right, I'm down. I'm down off the soapbox.
We'll get another one. Don't you worry.
Oh,
when you have your videos, you should do when you do the video podcast. You should literally have a soapbox. What are you gonna get on? What are we talking about now?
I like that, the Kosh soapbox.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what maybe we're gonna. I've been thinking about changing this segment. Maybe that's what we're gonna call this segment.
Yeah.
The Kosh soapbox.
That could be it.
I like that. Okay. I'm feeling it. All right. Well, next segment is called 21 Questions. And 21 Questions is an opportunity for our guests to answer some questions. Not 21 of them, but because we'll see.
We might get 24 hours.
We might get 21 answers because we got really in-depth, great questions. So, Molly, you ready to jump in?
Sure.
First question. What motivates you?
I think the number one thing that motivates me is the belief that people are inherently good. I do things for others, and we all deserve to have trust and respect from each other. And I think we're inherently good people, and I want to do my best to help us be best.
What worries you?
Everything. I think we just talked about that for quite a while, but I think again, it's related to my idea that everybody is inherently good, but people not being able to see the humanity in other people, a lack of empathy, of recognizing differences in people, and that differences aren't necessarily a bad thing.
What does success look like to you?
Obviously you can do the easy ones of tangible things, but I think that success is when people who I respect me, and I know that I have that confidence that we're doing the right thing. That feels like an incredibly successful moment. I obviously did think about, because I've had 1 year that was professionally the most successful year that I'll never replicate again. Doing immigration law, it takes a really long time to get decisions usually. And when I was in the height of doing my Afghan asylum work, where basically there were a lot of process, there was a terrible path, but it was a path where asylum is an incredibly difficult process. And for about a year and a half, my job was to just file asylum cases, going down to Chicago, do asylum interviews. It was incredibly draining, such rewarding work though. But then you wait to find out if you're going to get approved or not. And there was I won't call it a fast track because it was there was a lot of vetting, but basically for a while, the U.S. Immigration Service basically put all other asylum on pause to only deal with Afghan asylum work. So we got some decisions relatively quickly where in 1 year, I got 70 to 100 people asylum, which is unheard of. And I'd be getting approval notices in the mail every day, or at least once a week. There were times I got multiple in a day, and that's unheard of that. And so that was a success that I will never, ever replicate especially nowadays where I'm literally not getting any notices. And that felt amazing to be able to tell my clients that, you have a sense of security right now. I'm that was definitely my success, but I think the success really was actually going down to those interviews and doing putting my absolute heart and soul and having my clients put their heart and soul into doing the work so that we got those approvals. But it's mostly living my life in a way that I think that people respect what I'm doing and that I respect what I'm doing for myself. That's all I can hope for success.
What irritates you?
So right now, what really, you had worded in writing of like a pet peeve. I'm like, I don't think this counts as a pet peeve because I'm just straight up irritated by this. So for me right now, what really irritates me is like, I know that people are really upset with the world. Many people are, and with our country. And I know that people are really upset about what's going on with immigration, and they know that they feel that it's not right, and they feel a bit lost. They don't know what to do. But what irritates me is when somebody who's not in the depth of it, and you can apply this to just about any issue. It can be like with racial equity. It could be with dyslexia. It could be, and somebody who's not in the depths says, well, what can I do for it? And I'm like, and it's the most well-intentioned thing. What can I do to help you? I'm like, this also applies actually when someone is in mourning or like just is like sick and they need help, but they don't have the energy. We can't put asking somebody without trying to figure it out your darn self. It's like, that just puts more burden on those of us who are in the middle of the fight. And so I get really frustrated when people say things like, well, what do you expect me to do? Or what can I do? Even when they're saying it from a positive standpoint, because I can't tell you what to do to make a difference in this world. You have very different life circumstances than I do. The things that I can do to make a difference obviously are very different than what you can do. And you can figure that out yourself. Like, it's the idea of like, maybe it's active allyship. And maybe this is what I mean by co-conspirator, of like, I want to take direction from people who are directly impacted by the chaos in this world. And I want to take that burden off of them. But sometimes when you think you're being a good ally, all you are doing is putting more pressure and more frustration on the people who are living with a lot of serious stuff from day to day. So I had somebody say something because I'm also at the point where I'm calling people out at points when I'm frustrated that they aren't doing things. And sometimes I will give them examples of what I expect of them. And somebody said to me recently, it was like, well, what do you want me to do that isn't performative? I'm like, you need to figure that out for yourself, because if you're performing, that's on you. Like, you figure out your role in this crisis, and whether it's like, because you working for the city of Oshkosh, now I'm literally looking at you, Timber, like, you have a very different impact in this world than I do. And what I say for me to make a change doesn't work for you, but you have some power in places that I don't, and you can make a difference there. And that's your responsibility. And that's each of us as individuals' responsibility to find your role in that. So when you're frustrated, when anybody's frustrated, which you should be, and I hope you are, do something about it, and don't put it on those of us who are already fighting it to figure out what you're going to do. So that's my pet peeve.
Ooh.
A little bit of a...
We went hard.
Yeah, I know. That one I figured out really fast, but it was like, it's not like, oh, when people leave the toilet seat up or anything. It was a little more serious, that one. But
what scares you?
This one, not so serious. I really hate stairs without backs. You know, like on towers, especially, like, I don't know, you go to state parks or whatever, they have like the scenic towers. I like freak out when you can see through and see straight down. That scares me a lot.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's super
there
fair.
We go. Yeah.
What are you grateful for?
I think I'm grateful for all the privileges that I have in my life. I mean, I don't know if anybody has an easy life per se, but I recognize that I have been incredibly lucky and incredibly privileged with my family, my friends, the education level that I have, and that allows me to do some pretty incredible things that sometimes that other people don't have that opportunity to have. And so that's, I'm just so lucky with all the privileges that I've had throughout to get me to where I can do what I want to do with my life and in this world.
What do you want to be remembered for?
I think simply being a good person. Like, I hold myself to a pretty high standard in what I expect of myself and of what I do to try to help other people. And if people think I'm a good person, that's a great impact I've had on the world.
All right. I'm going to slide a question in here that we forgot to ask earlier, but I think this is the perfect place to ask it. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you like to be doing? Okay,
so easy answer is I've always said I wanted to own a Christmas tree farm. But real answer is I don't think I'd be very good at owning a Christmas tree farm. I just love like the fantasy around Christmas tree farms and like But really, they're a lot of darn work, and I'm not great at physical labor, and I'd probably kill all the trees, and I just want like the magic of Christmas, like that part. Although
you want to be in a Hallmark movie.
Exactly. Except or a romance novel. Hallmark movies I don't watch, but I read all. Yes, but no, you're right. But long before I read those, I love going to pick out the perfect Christmas tree for whatever reason. That's like one of my only like true like sweet romance Hallmark novel things that like even as a kid it's always been a huge deal for me. So I love the idea of a Christmas tree farm, but in reality not. I mean, it would just be so much work. And like you go out towards Watoma and you see all these abandoned Christmas tree farms and it's kind of sad because you're like, oh, they had such potential. But I think it's so hard to make them work. And it's a long-term investment to grow the trees. But I mean, I think realistically, like, because this question has happened to me. Like for a while, I didn't work. I stayed home with my kids, and like I still gravitated towards the same kind of stuff I am doing, and now I'm lucky enough to sometimes get paid for. Of like social justice work is my jam, and using my analytical skills or whatever it is that makes me a good lawyer works for me. I really, really like serving the immigrant community. I know I'd be doing that in some way, but I don't know exactly. But yep, that's maybe a Christmas tree farm, maybe just going back to living a life where I just didn't get paid to do what I do.
How do you define love?
This was like the hardest question for me. I was thinking what I came down to is like that love is lifting someone else to help them know or understand that they have value and that they're worthy, and whether or not that's the rest of the world recognizes that. I will say, like, I thought through, like, I don't know all like the love languages, like I don't know the details. I'm definitely an acts of service type of girl though, because like I don't say I love you a lot. I don't hug a lot. I hug more than some, but I like do stuff for people all the time, and that's what a lawyer does too. Like I make life a little bit easier for people. And I take some of that on for people. But I've been thinking about it because two things. Like one of my best friends growing up was this exchange student. And like for her, and so I've known her since I'm 15. And I don't talk to her that often, but every single conversation I have with her, we end it with like, love you, Ma, love you, Lao. And like that, for that moment, that means the world to me because like, I know that I won't talk to her again for a really long time, but the fact that she and I take the time to say that gets me through a lot. And I know that she's always there for me just from those three simple words. And then again, I don't say that with most other conversations. I do tell my pets that I love them a lot more than I tell humans, but that's a whole nother path. But I also love it when there's certain people that will like hug me. And like like my friends in the community who are there's a couple of guys that I know who are just really good huggers. And so I happen to see them in passing and I get a hug from them. Like, that's when I feel that worth and that like that they're giving me a little piece of that love to get me through my day. And like literally like we'll just like one of them I just saw at the farmer's market last weekend, and just getting a quick hug from him like is like, oh yeah, thank you. That is love. I appreciate you for my friendship and for everything that we do together. And you showed that with the hug. But love is helping someone make it have a little bit easier time in this world, helping them feel worthy and that they're. That's my current thought. I'm going to keep thinking on this one because this one thought, like, this was the one that stumped me the most, which probably means a lot that I should think about it more. But yeah.
You got layers.
Yep.
That's it. You didn't have a quick shot answer.
No.
You got layers to it.
No, I got layers.
That's fair.
I analyze. Remember, I'm a lawyer.
What is the most memorable life lesson you learned from a parent, a guardian, or a mentor?
Okay, this is awful. My dad's gonna be so mad at me because it first came from like, I don't remember specific things my parents have said or done to me except for one very specific thing. My parents have always been there for me though. But the one thing that when my dad gets frustrated with me, he'll be like, sorry, I'm gonna use the Lord's name in vain. He'll be like, Jesus, Molly, use your head. And it got me thinking that what he's really telling me is you can figure this out. You've got the brains, use your head, use your brains. And without a doubt, my parents have always made it clear that they believe in me and that they they don't always, and they, in general, and this is a great thing, I think, they don't always they haven't given me specific expectations. Like they don't expect certain things of me, but they believe in what I'm going to do, whatever that may be. And that's a really cool and empowering thing to know that you've got that support system behind you. And then there's that accountability when you do mess up. My dad's like, use your brain, figure it out. And so the belief in me very much has given me good confidence that I am a smart person. I am a worthy person. I don't always have the greatest self-confidence in physical parts of my body or anything like that. But when it comes to knowing that I'm a smart person and that I can do it and that I should and can believe in my ability to do things, that's what my parents have taught me. And then they'll hold me accountable with when I screw up. But usually fairly nicely. But
so I'm setting the stage.
Yeah.
You have been asked to keynote a fantastic summit, right? In front of your peers, people you respect from things. So let's say it's an immigration summit,
yeah,
all right, amongst people who are out here doing the work.
Yeah,
people that admire you and people you admire.
Yeah,
right. But you got to get the crowd hype. You got to set the tone. Maybe it's not about, maybe it's not getting the crowd hype. Maybe it's just setting the tone for you to come out and do what you do. What is that walkout song?
So that is not where I went when I was thinking about this question. I was like,
well, give me your scenario.
So my scenario was when I was young adult, hype songs, in college, it was just okay, I'm dancing to this. I am singing as loud as I can to this. I connect with the song. And that was always Brown Eyed Girl. But that is not a good professional walkout song of because Brown Eyed Girl is it's just this sweet romantic idea. Well, this guy who basically screwed up a relationship, but they had this great fun time together, and it's I at the time thought I had brown eyes. I now mostly think I have hazel eyes, not so brown. But I'd be always this is my song at a frat party or whatever. So that's the song I was thinking of. But it's a professional song. Geez.
Well, you see, it doesn't have to be. No. It's your walkout song.
Yeah, that could be that walkout song. I would say, and this is not a hype song in that regard, but the most impactful immigration type song that I know of, which would not hype up a crowd in a good way, it would basically make everybody cry, is Deportee by Woody Guthrie. I don't even know if he ever recorded it, but his son plays it a lot, and it's about the 1930s of when there was an immigration crackdown and about this plane that crashed. And so it's a true story, and it's a beautiful, sad song, but basically all they will call you will be deportee. And then he does go on and sings all the names of the people who died in this plane crash. It's an incredibly impactful and beautiful song that humanizes immigration a lot. Not a great hype song, though, more of a downer at the end. But yeah.
Okay. Well, we covered two scenarios.
Yeah. Yes, two. Yeah.
So okay, that's good. All right. So, first I'm just going to tell you survived 21 questions.
Oh, sweet. All right. Nice. That did not feel like 21 questions. Okay.
No, it's not. Well, it's just the title. We like that title, though.
Yep.
From 50 Cent.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. So, what we're going to do at this time, because we've been at it a while.
Okay.
I think it's the great opportunity for a brittle break.
Okay.
So, Kosh listeners, you know how this works. What we're going to do at this time, we're going to share a commercial from our friends, and then Molly's going to crack open a bag of brittle and tell us what she thinks.
Oh, I've got it stuck.
Hey, Timber, this is Orson.
This is Yao.
Hashtag the Brittle Daddies. Timber, every week you have some amazing guests who have some amazing stories, and we want to give them a little something.
Yeah, let's give them the pistachio brittle. It's a state fair winner.
Oh, the pistachio. Leave this for guests who have some really exciting stories. I think they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and if your guests want to find out more about Shari's Ghana style brittle, they should go to sharaysgsb.com.
Sounds good. All right, we're out.
Deuces.
Okay.
All right. I've had it before, and I love it. And your dog loves it too.
Bosco does. Bosco is all about. He magically shows up. I
No,
told
seriously,
you.
yeah. As soon as I picked it up, it didn't even make any noise from the bag. Do you want any or not?
Oh yeah, you totally hooked me up here. I'm all about this life. Thank you kindly. All right.
No, it's great stuff, and I've had it at the farmers market and at the co-op, and I appreciate it. It's sticky though; it's all stuck together today.
Oh yeah. Well, in this case, there's what I'm gonna say is my storage in this. This one, this is our last bag, so I'm sending my message out there to Yao and Orson right now.
Good stuff though.
Yeah,
terrific.
We need to hook up, y'all. We got to keep the brittle breaks running. All right,
I like them.
Oh, these are fantastic, and the pistachio just has a really good flavor to it.
Pistachio is good stuff. I've never paid close attention to pistachio until like the last year. I really like it. Yeah.
Me too. It's one of my favorites. This and the cashew. Those are my two.
Yeah.
Okay. So, next segment, as we do a little crunching here.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I don't have any shame about it. Next segment is called Word Association. This is where I'm going to say some words, and you're going to tell us what comes to your mind.
Okay.
All right. So, first, before we get started, we always start with the same word. And it's a long-standing tradition on the Kosh, and that is the word of community. It is the word of family. It is the word of love. It is the word food.
Well, for food, I was thinking, very excited about the truffle pig opening in Oshkosh. I have not been yet. We went to the pop-up last year when they had it out at TJ's Highlands. But we had our exchange student last year was Italian, and we just went to Italy and had like the most outstanding Italian food ever. So I have to wait a little while to make sure that like I've heard that truffle pig is incredibly good, and she did approve it. She went with us to the pop-up, but the best food I've ever eaten was in northern Italy less than a month ago. So I need to give myself some time so I can do a fair assessment instead of being like, oh well, this isn't quite as good as Italy. So.
Bruh. Well, to be fair, when I was at Jazz Fest yesterday, I bumped into Sam Coleman.
I saw that he was there.
Yes, huge shout out there, Dr. Coleman, our man. He's doing amazing work. But he had just went.
Okay.
And he was telling us, and he said it was fire.
Okay. Good.
So that I trust in because
I do, and he's a good foodie. So
yeah, I trust Sam's palate. Like Sam don't play.
No, he does not.
So
okay.
Him saying is good.
All right, I'm gonna have to talk to him about it too to be like, yeah. I saw a picture that he was out there. So.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna go. It's close by. I'm gonna try to check it out. It looks beautiful.
It looks amazing. Yeah. It looks like It looks like a great represent. Yeah.
So we'll see what's up.
Yeah.
Cocktail or beer?
Lately, I've been on the cocktails, but I've been doing Aperol spritzes a lot all the summer. But I did not buy a bunch of them. I just go whenever I go out. That's what I've been drinking. Yeah. And that's either you like them or you hate them. I've been told, and I like them. So
that's true. People who love them.
Yeah.
And
I don't quite get why they're so bad. Why you wouldn't like them, but that's just me. So
fair enough. Shop local.
I think of the Oshkosh Food Co-op. I was on their board when we opened the co-op, and the whole point of it was to try to have local foods there and to build up the local food economy. And I think we're getting there, as evidenced by Charades. I think they're out of Milwaukee. Right? Anyways, local food sold there, and it's good stuff, and they're doing a lot of good work, and I hope they continue to grow.
Oh yeah. Love the food co-op.
Yeah.
There's a cool joint.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to that episode.
Oh, Jeremiah?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is really, really good.
Yeah. He's doing great things there.
Music.
I'm going down to the Outlaw Music Festival in the end of September where it's supposed to be Willie Nelson and family and Bob Dylan and a few other good names. It's on a Friday though, which makes life a little difficult when you're living regular life and and it starts it starts at 4:20 in the afternoon. That's what literally they put it on the tickets. I'm like, go Willie. But I got my husband these tickets because he loves Bob Dylan and he loves Willie Nelson, but it was also this idea because we've had an issue where we're like, oh, I didn't want to go to this show, and I'm like, I don't really like him. It was Tom Petty at the time, and then Tom Petty died, and my husband was like, seriously, you missed the last chance to see him. So now it's kind of like, okay, when people are getting up there, maybe towards the end of their career, when we have a chance to go see somebody, we're gonna go see them. So we're gonna go on a Friday in September to Alpine Valley at the Outlaw Music Festival, and hopefully Willie is performing. And hopefully Bob Dylan is, but I think he will be. But Willie is a little not as sure.
All right, fair. Let me ask this. Is there anybody that you regret you didn't get to see that passed? Mine is Prince.
Yes.
I always wanted to make it to a Prince concert. I'm really mad that I didn't get to have that experience.
So Tom Petty is like, and it's partially because I was just an idiot. Like I decided like I didn't like Tom Petty like when I was a kid, and I didn't like the Traveling Wilburys, which I don't even really know the Traveling Wilburys. I just hated one song that they put out when I was a kid. And so like all my life I just asserted I don't like Tom Petty, and there were opportunities that I could have gone at various points in my life, and then right before he passed, and then I kind of threw this fit being like, I'm not going to Tom Petty. And then Eric's like, do you even know his music? And so then he like makes me listen to all his records. I'm like, oh crap, this is good music. Like I missed out not only seeing him live, but just even enjoying the music while he was alive. But that was a good lesson to learn, because I've like now I'm purposely like, we got to see, well, we saw BB King right before he passed away, and which was like so incredible to see, because he still had like the crazy energy. Like just because somebody's older doesn't mean sometimes they put on better shows. Sometimes they're terrible, but sometimes they put on amazing shows. Like right when they're doing their swan song. Same thing happened for us. We got to see Buddy Guy last year in Green Bay, and he is weathered, but he puts on an amazing show, and he was like, "Sweet, this is as good as I've ever seen you." Yeah.
Streaming.
This weekend, my daughter and I finally finished or caught up to The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is like the hit of the summer for women and girls, I guess. But then it's a fun show, just like a high school or college romance thing. It's good stuff.
What's it on?
It's
this.
on Prime, Amazon Prime.
It's on Amazon
yeah,
Prime.
And it's based on books, but it's this crazy love triangle story that's been going on for 3 seasons, and of basically this girl who grows up with these 2 boys. They're like their families are best friends, and she somehow falls in love with both of them, and it's acceptable that she dates one in high school and then have a big bad falling out with lots of drama, and then almost marries the other one. Maybe we'll still end up marrying him, but we'll find out next week if they do. I can tell you what happens in the books. But yeah, it is a stupid summer show that is so freaking addicting. And everybody at this point is Team Conrad. If you ever hear anybody talking about Team Jeremiah or Team Conrad, you're Team Conrad, or more like move on, maybe get out of the love triangle of dating brothers. And
they're brothers?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think you left that important.
Sorry, that's a huge part of the story. Yeah, they're brothers, and they're like moms are best friends. So like these families are like so linked, and maybe the female main character just needs to go out and find herself independently of either of them. So
this sounds like a situationship.
Oh, it's a crazy situationship. It's good stuff though.
It is good stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Last word: community.
I think it's you need to create the community you want to live in. Like it's up to us to be what we want to live in, and for our kids to grow up in, and to our friends to thrive in. Like create it.
Yes. And that is part of what we try to do here at the Kosh. We are trying to create community, share community, link community, get to know our neighbors better.
Yes.
Get out of your silos.
Yeah, I mean, that's so hard to do. Like, it's so easy to just be in our own little corner of the world.
Yeah.
Make it a little bigger.
A little bit. So, Kosh listeners, get out here and listen to some episodes. Check out some people that you're curious about. You'd be surprised what people share in an episode.
Yeah, seriously.
So, and this is on its way to being a very fire episode. I'm just saying.
Okay, good.
All right. So, we have survived
All right.
word association.
All right, good.
Molly, you cruising through?
All right.
You making through?
All right, good. I'm feeling good.
Next segment. Next segment is called the Kosh Hidden Gems. And the Kosh Hidden Gems is an opportunity for our guests to share a hidden gem. Now, the hidden gem can be anything, absolutely anything, and it does not have to be here in the Kosh. It can be anywhere. It could be in the surrounding Fox Cities region, Northeast Wisconsin, or in the Kosh. And the way it usually works is people share something that they think people don't know a lot about. Mm-hmm. Or they share something maybe everybody knows about, but there's details about it that people don't know about. What you going to share?
I've got 2. My first one is a fairly new restaurant on the scene in Oshkosh in the greater Fox Valley. It's called Sufra Afghan Food. And they're at the Oshkosh Farmer Market right outside the Time is where they've been all summer. But they also, they make their food out of a community kitchen in Appleton called it's either the Coop or the Co-op, not really sure which. But anyway, so they rent space there, but then are basically at lots of pop-ups right now. And their food is freaking amazing. Afghan food is unique. The things I like the best are these lentil dumplings, which again, I've never really had the opportunity to have lentil dumplings before this. So they're regular dumplings, mostly filled with lentils and other spices. And then their grilled chicken, or it's kind of like a smoked chicken. It's kind of this in-between thing. And it's just this really smooth, terrific chicken. It's a local family who has made their home here for the last 4 years. And they wanted to bring a little bit of Afghanistan here, and they're doing a great job of it. I think they will be at more and more night markets, things like that, and hopefully have their own restaurant at some point in the future. But right now, pay the money, try out the food. It's so good. Take it home. Every time I get it when I go to the farmer's market, it's enough that my husband and I can eat, each have lunch off of it from getting the mixed meal that they give you or whatever. It's so good.
I just saw them for the first time yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was so curious.
It's good stuff.
Is it? Okay. The next time I see them.
It's really good. Their sauces are really, really good. They have lots of different, they don't call them dips, but they it's such good stuff.
Okay. I'm going to mess with that.
Yeah, it's worth it. And my other hidden gem, I have to give a shout out to what I consider to be the best nonprofit in our area right now, doing amazing work getting with people is SAPO. They are working with our immigrant community, mostly our refugee community, mostly our African refugee community. But Ange and Mouche have done some incredible things with helping people who often feel like they don't have a sense of home or a sense of community have that home. Some of the programming that's been going on is literacy related with Dr. Coleman going in there and doing literacy and leadership development with kids, helping with bikes, getting kids bikes, helping families navigate the school system and healthcare, getting jobs, the DMV, which is why I work with them a lot, because we all just want to help people get driver's license that they're entitled to. But SAPO is doing amazing work with a population that often is, we've talked about a lot, overlooked here in our community. So they're awesome.
Yes, they are. I want to give a special big shout out to Ange and to Mouche. And if you've not listened to Mouche's episode, please do, because it is actually one of the most listened to episodes of the Kosh. And he tells fantastic stories throughout.
Amazing.
Yes.
His storytelling ability and his way of helping people understand community he's so good. Yeah.
Yes, facts.
Yeah.
Okay. Next segment, my favorite segment. Next segment is story time. Story time is an opportunity for our guests to share a story with the Kosh listeners. That story can be about absolutely anything. Molly, what do you got for us?
I'm doing immigration related since this is my unique role in this community. So for the last 3 years, as I've kind of alluded to, I've been working mostly with our Afghan population that was relocated here with World Relief Fox Valley. And then I was providing some of the legal services for this group of people. And like I've talked about, first up was getting people asylum. But then the thing that it's very important for them to get stabilized in their immigration life and feel like they're safe here. But for so many of my clients, it was this idea of we want our family to be here with us. And that's been the most heartbreaking part of my job because we've not been successful with that. Nationwide, we have not been successful with getting the rest of the family out of Afghanistan. But one of the crazy stories that I had was one little boy was here and came to, he lives in Menasha. He happened to be at his uncle's house when Kabul fell, and the family all attempted to get to the airport together. And basically, the uncle was told by someone, "Get there now, just go now, take your family with you." So they took his nephew with him, who at the time was about 4, I want to say. So this is in 2021. So that little boy ended up being evacuated out of Kabul with his uncle's family, and they eventually ended up here. So this little boy for 4 years just wants his dad. His mom had already passed away for separate other reasons in Afghanistan, but he has 3 other siblings and he has a new stepmom. And so it was a huge priority for me and for World Relief to do whatever we could working within the laws of the United States and within the services that were available at the time to get this kid's family here. And nothing out of Afghanistan for the last 4 years has been easy. It's a political nightmare. The U.S. doesn't like to, at the time they were working with the Taliban to basically vet anybody leaving Afghanistan on U.S. flights, and it's an incredibly slow, difficult process. Last summer, we got news that this little boy, who is about now 6 or 7 years old, his family had made it out to Doha, Qatar. They were there for about 3 months, and then on mid-November, we got word that this was after the election, that this boy's family was finally coming to the United States. And this is one of those things, I guess this is the success of there aren't that many airport reunions. I mean, whatever. I cried in an airport on a drop of a hat, no matter what. But so I decided that this was my only reunion that we'd had so far. And so the family that was here with the boy, his uncle and everything, they decided to try to surprise him. I don't know how. I mean, he's a young enough kid, so they convinced him somehow that they're going to the airport to somehow go to Chicago. It made no logical sense. But either that or the boy had a willing suspension of disbelief. He was going to the airport, didn't know why. And at the flight was delayed at 9:45 on a Thursday night. This little boy's dad, his stepmom, and his brothers, and his little sister, who I don't even know if he ever really, I don't think he met her ever. He barely knew. Walk up. They decided to do they set it all up. They made him go over by the luggage. This is at ATW at the luggage, and various people greeted them as they walked out of security and everything. But it was this crazy, surreal moment where there was a large group of us, and the whole family was there, and the boy was standing over by the window, and so the dad had to go the whole length of it to be reunited with his son, and it was a crazy, surreal moment with. Basically, it felt like there was silence. I don't know if there really was, but it felt totally silent in the baggage claim at ATW as this boy and his dad, he did the stereotypical thing of leapt into his dad's arms, and all you could hear was everyone crying. And it was the good, happy cry of they get to be together again. They get to build their life together. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but they finally... They were together. And that's how, in my world, it's supposed to be. That's what I hope for all my clients. I didn't know at the time that it was going to be my only one of those. I've worked so darn hard on other ones that are not quite as heartbreaking as a 6-year-old boy just hoping to be with his dad, but they're pretty darn close. I mean, I still have hope. Well, I attended Appleton North High School graduation for one of my clients who made it out without his parents because his parents didn't get here. So I'm at least there's somebody, and he has a new impromptu family that can kind of cover too, but that's the hope that everybody has. And it was an incredibly happy and beautiful night that I wish we got to have more of, but right now that's not a reality. So
I can feel that.
Yeah.
I can feel your emotion in it now.
Yeah. It's kind of, again, at the time it felt amazing and it felt good. And I mean, yes, I cried a lot that night, but it was like the happy cries. And now I look at it differently. And it's just heartbreaking and sad that we're not going to have any of that.
Well, I'm hopeful that this is just a period in time.
Yeah, me too.
And maybe we can get back to some type of normal.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, some sort of close to humanity of seeing. Yeah.
It would be nice, right?
Yeah.
Just,
Something small.
Just, I don't think we're asking for too much.
No, I don't, but who knows?
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for that amazing story. Okay. Kosh listeners, you know what time it is now. Means we are going to start wrapping up this episode. So I just want to take a quick moment here and tell Molly, thank you for spending time with us here on the Kosh and talking with us and having this conversation and letting our listeners get to know you a little better. Thank you, Kosh listeners, for giving us your minds and ears and learning about another community member who's out here making our community a better place, working really hard at it, ripping down silos,
Trying to.
reminding us of our humanity, and sharing the stories that need to be shared so we can remember our humanity. You already know, We are trying to become the number one podcast in Wisconsin, and we can't do it without your help. It's all about you. So, things that you can do to help. Easy. If you are listening to this episode and you're saying, Timber, you should do a segment on this. Timber probably should, but you need to tell him. If you're listening right now and you think, I really want to be on as a guest, I got something important to share, or I know someone who should be on the Kosh, which is actually Molly Howell. Someone said, you need to have Molly on. And I was like, yes, I do. So that is how that happened. So, and one more thing, if you're thinking right now, Timber, I would like to see you turn the Kosh into a video podcast. There's a t-shirt out here that could help with that. Or if you'd like to just make a donation to the Kosh. But, no matter what, we are trying to become the number one podcast in Wisconsin. And so to help with that, what you can do is reach out to us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, askthekosh@gmail.com. We have a really amazing audience of individuals or of listeners out there who listen, but we could always be bigger. And what can you do to help that so we can reach more people, so we can rip down more silos, so we can get to meet more of our neighbors? It's called analytics. And so what I need you to do is, while you're listening to this episode, take a moment. If you see an opportunity to give us 5 stars, do it. If you see an opportunity to leave a review, do it. If you see an opportunity, I'm just saying, these are important
You gotta
things.
say it.
Yeah, you gotta say the things. It just seems obvious, but no, I need people to do it. All of the things. If there's a subscribe button, do it. Like button, do it. Any of those things are things that increase our analytics, and the better our analytics are, the more people learn about this amazing podcast known as the Kosh. Okay, so Molly, you know what we are about to get into right now? Oh, good.
Pay attention to your notes.
It is shout out time. Yeah. Okay, so who we shouting out?
Okay, I got 2. The people I call the Zkosh crew. It was this amazing group of people from the Kosh who we all managed to go to Zambia together last summer. It was about 21 of us, led by Angie Mouche from SAPO. But we were a ragtag group of people who we all sort of knew each other beforehand, and we all sort of know each other afterwards. But we bonded over that, and now like it's kind of a cool thing because all of the adults that went on that trip have their own little like pockets of influence in Oshkosh, and like some are teachers, some are museum directors, some are at the university, some are doctors, some are in marketing. Like they do great things, and it's really cool like what has happened since then, of how like we bonded over that experience and had some amazing times together in Zambia. But the difference that we get to make together now is really kind of cool too. So like find your tribe or your group, whatever you want. You've got to they exist here in Oshkosh, I guarantee it, and depend on those people and enjoy them to the fullest. My other shout out is the Oshkosh North boys soccer team. They my kids are not on the team or anything, but I've gotten to know a lot about the program over the last year, partially because of my job at World Relief. Their coach reached out to us last year because something like 75% of his students are students with an immigrant background of some sort. Because guess what? Soccer is huge around the whole world, much more so probably than even here in Oshkosh, although they're building great programs here. But he needed help, like to help their kids get like sports physicals and get the gear that they needed. Because it's not, boys soccer is not the biggest athletic program at either of our schools, but they've got a great group of kids who now we work together to get them all their sports physicals this year. And these boys are ready to do terrific things, and they've got a couple of stars, but most importantly, they have an amazing team of kids that just need to have the love of being able to play the sport that they want to play. And I hope they have an amazing season. I think they will.
Okay. Love the shout outs.
Yeah.
Okay, my shout outs are going to go to, first and foremost, anyone who has bought the Kosh t-shirt, these new Kosh t-shirts. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the Kosh. We've been on this journey now for some time. We've got like 4 years of podcasting in, over 150 some episodes, and some of the best conversations with some of our most influential community members, or just really quality neighbors, people making a difference here in our region. So thank you for supporting the Kosh. And please continue.
And you're showing people the love on your Facebook page when they wear the shirts, they get the shout out.
Oh yeah, you go get a shout out. Most definitely. Just send me the pic when you sport it. That's all I need. And I want to send a huge shout out to Hope and Help Together, who just threw a summit for the Fikes Valley Newcomers Project. What a great summit. It was really good. It's their 3rd year doing it. I sit on that planning committee, and they just do a nice job organizing that. Big shout out to the Appomattox School District for taking a lead in that and really showing the importance of supporting our newcomers in our community, period, and how much value they add and why they're important and why we should not other them, but build community with them.
Yes.
All right. And then, y'all, I usually don't keep my shout outs this short, but I am going to keep them this short this week. And my last shout out goes to where the last shout out always goes to. And that last shout out goes to the wife for continuing to let me do a podcast in the house. Baby, I love you and thank you.
Awesome.
That is how that works.
Good work. Good job saying that out loud, too.
Oh, yeah. Look, that's my rock.
Yeah.
All right. So, last thing, you got 3 choices, Molly, and that is this. Okay, option A, share some parting words of wisdom with the Kosh listeners.
Okay.
Option B, tell the listeners what would yourself today tell your 13-year-old self.
Oh, God.
And then option C, you can do both because a good multiple choice always has an all of the above.
Yeah, seriously.
How we getting down?
Oh, God. All right. I'm not doing all the above. By the way, I'm not sure that you could give your 13-year-old self advice, period. Like, because they're not going to listen to a 47 or 48-year-old. But anyways.
Yeah, but I do think it's a great question.
Yeah.
Right? Because, and people really, out of all the things I ask, when I give that one to people, like you can tell this processing that happens because if you could time travel and go back.
Well, it's like that letter to self concept too.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways my answer is similar for both of the first A and B of like, okay, if I'm going to give other people a piece of advice, I should give it to myself too. I've been trying to be really intentional lately, and I probably do this better outwardly than inwardly of like, it's the crazy law enforcement thing of if you see something, say something, but it's more of a positive thing of when you see something and you appreciate something, vocalize it. I mean, so it's the same concept as your shout outs and tell people, don't let them guess. I think of that in the concept of like, there's nothing more powerful than like simple things of like, I appreciate you or thank yous are very important, but it's also thank you for, and then fill in the blank is probably most important. But like, I've also been making it a point to tell my clients that like, it's an honor and a privilege to serve them. So like those kind of little things that when you have a recognition in your brain that this is something that's important to you, it doesn't really matter how you think they will perceive it. I mean, yes, you want to be respectful of people, but like throwing that positivity out into the world and that respect for other people is always a good thing. And I don't think any of us are very good at that. And I also think throwing that positivity back at yourself is by far the hardest part of it. So that would be my general advice to myself and to anybody else who wants the parting words of wisdom is like, when you have something good to say it. When you have something good to recognize it and live in that moment. And yeah, you might feel a little awkward saying it, but do it. It's, let the people bask in whatever that warmth is that they feel from that.
All right. Molly, what'd you think?
It was good. I like talking to you. Good stuff.
Yes.
It flew by too, by the way. I have no idea what time it is.
It's the Kosh.
It's a special clock.